Okay, Jessica, what do we got now? Who do we have next?
We have next Ronnie Barkan, who's coming in from Tel Aviv, Israel via video web conference.
Okay.
Ronnie, you there?
Ronnie, are you there?
Okay.
There he is.
There
Hi, Ronnie. How you doing? Okay, I'm not hearing Ronnie. I don't know if anybody else is. Welcome to webcam land. Always a...
Hi, Paul and Jessica. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We hear you now, I think. Okay, Ronnie, thanks for joining us. Go ahead. What, do you have a comment or a question?
Yes, I wanted to know, being activist on the ground here in Palestine and Israel, we see how deeply the U.S. is involved in the operation that is going on here. This is a U.S.-Israeli operation with the help of other powers as well. And this is clear to anyone working on the ground. However, in the mainstream media, we tend to see quite of the opposite image. And they try to complicate it and to portray a very different image. I want to know, do you think it would be possible to display a bird's eye view of the situation and to show and to make also the people in the US and in Europe understand how deeply they are involved in what is going on here in many ways, and how their action over there actually affects what is going on here on the ground?
Well, you're there. Give us an example of what you're talking about.
People are being oppressed in many ways with US-made weapons. Israel is being supported diplomatically and financially by the US in many ways, and basically the people who should be given a voice do not get the voice. The people we should be listening to, the people who are being oppressed, the Palestinians in this case, we do not hear their voice. And I want to know if the Americans can actually really hear this voice coming from the people we should be listening to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I obviously you watch us, or you wouldn't be here. At the Real News, we have a full-time person, Leah Tarachansky. She's in Tel Aviv, but she works a lot from the West Bank as well. And if you watch, you know, her many excellent video reports, many of them are reports on Palestinians and their efforts to organize, their efforts to fight for their rights and express their voice. In fact, there's a new one coming tomorrow about Palestinian women. So certainly we do. As far as the mainstream media goes, it's so one-sided that it's, I don't know where you begin. I mean, you can have somebody like Newt Gingrich say Palestinians don't exist as a people, and mainstream media can more or less take it seriously without too much comment. The problem with mainstream media is not, I don't think, broad Jewish public opinion. I don't think, in fact, we've done a story or two on this, and we're actually about to do 2-3-part series exploring this whole question. But I don't think the evidence shows that the majority of ordinary Jewish people in North America, the United States in particular, given that we're talking about the elections, I don't think it's them who are pushing this so much. Most Jewish Americans vote Democrat. Whatever you think of the Democratic Party, most do, thinking that it's some kind of at least social, progressive, left of center kind of alternative. Whether it is or not is another debate. It's not to say there aren't a certain section of the Jewish community that isn't a Joe Lieberman kind of trend, but less and less of them are still in the Democratic Party, as was Lieberman pushed more or less out. But the broad section of Jewish public opinion is not so one-sided and is not so anti-Palestinian, is not so racist, I would say. In fact, I think on the whole, North American Jews are probably less biased and less racist than a lot of Israelis are, because anyone that goes to Israel, and I was totally taken aback when I was there, I guess about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, at the level of virulent racism against Palestinians in Israel. I don't think you find that amongst most American or Canadian Jews. On the other hand, there's some very rich very right-wing Jews. We've been hearing about Sheldon Adelson, who finances Gingrich and is very close to Netanyahu. And some of the big money who are Jewish billionaires, some of them are very right-wing, and they have extraordinary influence. And so, and that influence pervades the culture because they have the money to be heard. Then number two, you've got this whole history in the United States, and this does include the Democratic Party, certainly its leadership, and of course the Republican Party, that sees Israel as this outpost of Western culture, Western civilization, which they interpret as being democracy and all of that. And they can somehow get their heads around this idea that even though Israel's committing all these, violations of international law and more, and if you take what's happening in Gaza, essentially war crimes, it's all being done but under the roof somehow of defending a country that's supposedly democratic. And so this is very, very heavily believed in the media. And of course, the third thing, which everybody knows, is the Zionist, right-wing Likud Zionist machine is very powerful at going after journalists and calling people anti-Semitic anytime they make a critique of Israel. Although I always need to repeat this thing, not all criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic, but some is. But the fact that some is doesn't make most of it. And this, obviously, people get attacked all the time for this. So are Palestinians being heard in mainstream news? No. And will they in any time soon? No. This is why we need to build independent media like the Real News Network and other entities that are willing to do this. And we need to get bigger, or as Robert Naiman said in the last webcam interview, we got to be able to do more. Anything else you want to add? Is Ronnie still there? No? Can you hear me? Okay, I think we've somehow lost the connection because I'm asking Ronnie if he had anything more he wanted to add. All right. Doesn't seem to be working. Well,
technical difficulties.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Did you want to add anything else?
I'd like to stress the importance of independent media here, of real news, bringing out these types of debates. I think that in order to change the situation, if the politicians would have done what they are obligated to do, we wouldn't be carrying on the longest-running military occupation in modern time, and this regime that is violating human rights on a daily basis. But since the politicians are not doing their job, then it is up to us, and I think that the real news is extremely important in this. So kudos to you, and I watch the real news to learn what is actually happening here in this region more than I would.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you. And we really do want to establish, we have Leahs in Israel full-time right now, but we really want to establish bureaus and, Real News chapters in other countries. So Real News can actually not just be based in North America, reporting more or less for a North American audience, but have Real News with its own bases in other countries that can deal with more specific issues in each of those countries. And very, very soon we're going to be rolling out translated pages, not pages, the whole website's going to be translated into various languages, Arabic, Spanish, Hebrew, and people are going to be able to go to the Real News and it will be more or less the whole website, but it will all be in many languages. And right now we're recruiting volunteer translators so that the Real News can be seen in many countries and many languages.